Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to an article from businessinsider.com titled "Meet a Single Dad with $550,000 in Student Loans for His 5 Children. I'm just not going to take the chance on not sending my kids to school." So this article popped into my feed just recently, but by the looks of it, this article was already published back in September 26, so it was around 2 weeks ago already. But regardless of that, I feel like this article is going to be worth it because that $550,000 amount is just so big that, you know, it's just crazy to kind of like imagine having that amount of debt. And I feel like with this article, we're going to learn something new as well. But anyway guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Dred and I post personal finance and dividend investing videos and pretty much anything related to money. And right now I am documenting my journey in paying off my student loans. So if you're interested in seeing how everything unfolds or you just want to show your support, then please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and also sharing this video. Now with that out of the way, let's get back to the main thing. All right, so let's read this article. Let's go over here, scroll down. Reed Clark didn't expect to be providing for 5 children on just his income alone. Clark was preparing to pay for his 5 kids' education as part of a 2-income family, but he and his wife divorced in 2011. Just a few years later, when the children started to go to college, he decided to turn to federal loans to finance their education himself. Due to private circumstances, his ex-wife isn't contributing, so that's a really big burden already because you're only paying for your kids' education just by yourself. So you know what, I just can't imagine this one even for my parents, you know. Anyway, now his debt load stands at over $550,000. That's a very crazy amount. I'm looking at paying $3,000 a month for the better part of the rest of my life. Clark, who's 57, told Insider he estimates he'll have to keep making those payments for at least 3 more decades. Now, can you just imagine paying student loans for 3 more decades of your life? You've already probably finished paying off your own student loans, and then here you are paying off your kids' student loans. So you know what, for me personally, that's just like a big burden that I cannot put on my parents. So but you know what, that's just me, you know. This guy is pretty much ready apparently to pay for his kids education, so you know, kudos to him. But anyway, Parent Plus loans, the type of loan Clark is paying off, are federal loans that let parents pay for their children's education. They can cover the full cost of attendance minus any financial aid the child already received. So I guess this is one of the crux of this video. Pretty much it's talking about Parent Plus loans, and this is actually a very great alternative if you don't have any more money to kind of like pay for your college tuition costs. Your parents can pretty much pay for your college costs if you know there isn't enough money going around anymore. And I'm actually going to link down in the description below some more information regarding Parent Plus loans from the studentaid.gov website. Anyway, going back to this article right here, for Clark, the ability to take out those loans meant he didn't have to defer his kids' education despite the unexpected change in his financial standing. But now he said even though he makes a livable salary in healthcare sales, his retirement could very likely be pushed off because he chose to take on debt to prioritize his kids' future. For those of us who want to see our kids do better, we understand that you better yourself and you better your chances for success with education, Clark said. And I'm just not going to take the chance on not sending my kids to school, even though it's going to create a tremendous financial burden. It's not an option. Clark says he wanted what was best for his kids, and Parent Plus loans allowed him that opportunity. But he's highly concerned for his own financial future, and he blames high interest rates and lending practices that don't take into account the borrower's income or change in income. Like I said earlier, kudos to this father because he actually is carrying the burden to pay for his 5 kids' college education. So you know what, that is really amazing. And he actually even mentions it already that he is highly concerned with his own financial future because like I said, he's carrying the burden for all of his 5 children's college tuition costs. Now we don't know any other information regarding this guy's you know, financial standing, where his kids actually go to school. Maybe they'll talk about it later on. And anyway guys, just remember that I am not a financial advisor or anything like that, so whatever I say here, please take it with a grain of salt. You know, make sure that you do your own research and do your own kind of like calculation as to how much college will cost for you or your children. But anyway, let's go back over here. Let's scroll down a little bit. They really make it challenging to educate your kids and pay for it. President Joe Biden campaigned on canceling $10,000 in student debt for every borrower, and some Democrats are urging him to cancel $50,000 of every borrower's federal student loans using executive action. But it's unclear whether Parent Plus loans would be included in that forgiveness, and helping parents with their debt has yet to become a part of conversations on Capitol Hill. Parent Plus loans are the most expensive type of federal loan. They now have an interest rate of 6.28%, for the 2021 to 2022 school year, compared with the 3.73% for undergraduate loans, allowing debt to accumulate quicker for parents who need help sending their kids to school. New data released last week by the Texas Public Policy Foundation highlighted the burden student debt puts on parents, finding that there is about one parent plus borrower for every 5 student loan borrowers. Andrew Gillen, author of the report, told Yahoo Finance that one of the problems with parent plus loans is that because the amount parents receive is based on cost of attendance instead of how much the parents can actually afford, it can create a dangerous mentality that leads to increased borrowing. It's not as if Clark's children went to the most expensive schools in the country. 3 of them went to small schools in Pennsylvania, where Clark lives, and the other 2 went to other state schools on the East Coast. But even for public universities, tuition costs have been soaring for years. And there you go, guys. It did mention that, they actually went to not an expensive school, but also it said that public universities, tuitions have been soaring over the years. And that's actually true. I remember back in 2017, 2018, when I first started at UCSD, I think the tuition was around 27,000 to 28,000, something around that amount. And as the years go by, I think it increased 5% something. So it was crazy to kind of like see that tuition costs for public universities are just soaring crazy, because I don't know, maybe it has something to do with supply and demand, something like that. More, since it's cheaper, quote unquote, compared to private universities and all the Ivy League schools, more people are flocking towards it. So since there are more people now in a university, then prices are gonna go high as well. And to be honest, I actually don't know why it has to be like that, because it's a public university, it's funded by the government. So I really don't know, man. I didn't really do much research regarding as to how or why the costs for public universities I like that. But you know what, going back here, since 2001, average in-state tuition has surged 211%. In addition to Clark's loans, each of his kids took out about $20,000 in student loans because Clark wanted them to have a vested interest in their education. He said his debt comes down to flaws with the federal student aid system, in which the government makes it very easy for people to borrow money but very hard to pay it back. A little side comment here, that is actually quite good. That's a very good kind of like strategy for him, that he wanted his kids to have some sort of stake in the student loan process, because like if all he ever did was took on 100% of the student debt, then that's really not great. And besides, I don't think that will actually happen, because at some point when you're applying for federal aid, it's basically attached to the kid's name, like, so student aid that you actually get is first for you as a student, and then after that, if your parents qualify, then they will offer you parent plus loans. And at least that's how I know it, that's how I've experienced it. I've never been offered parent plus loans because it never really got to the point that we needed parent plus loans. So thank God for that one. But you know what? That's this guy's situation. But anyway, yes, like I said, the kids or his children has to have some sort of vested interest or stake in this one, so that they can be responsible as well, and not just fully defer the responsibility to their father. But anyway, moving forward, at the very onset of the whole process is where the problems begin, Clark said, referring to the unchecked amount parents can borrow years in advance. They really make it challenging to educate your kids and pay for it once the federal pause on student loan payments lifts. In February, Clark anticipates having the means to make monthly payments on his loans, but completely eliminating his debt could take decades, and he said he's not holding out hope for student loan forgiveness anytime soon. And I actually like that mindset, never hold out any hope for student loan forgiveness, because even for me, I don't think forgiveness or this student loan forgiveness mass cancellation thing is going to happen, because I just don't think so. For us normal borrowers, this is just not going to happen. Maybe if you're in some sort of extreme situation, like you were disabled permanently or totally disabled, like I've mentioned before, or maybe you've been defrauded by your college or some other stuff like that, maybe you have some chance of student loan forgiveness. But for normal borrowers like us, we just don't have that chance. I don't think so, at least. Anyway, the last paragraph here, I'm highly concerned about my ability to pay back the loans during my remaining work years, and it's going to scare me even more in a few years when I retire and I go on to a very limited income, Clark said. That's the part that gives me the most anxiety. And this is, I think, is a very legitimate concern, because he is already 57. He's very close to his retirement age, probably around like what, 9 years, and it's very close. And I don't think that being able to pay $550,000 in student loans is going to be doable during those 9 years. He'll probably have to pay a lot of money every month, just to pay it off. And that's not even including the interest on top of it. Now, like I said earlier before, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not gonna give this guy some sort of advice because he probably doesn't know me. I don't know him. I don't know his situation at all. But if I were his kid and, he was my dad, we would probably come to some sort of agreement, to make sure that he is not burdened too much by all of this student debt, because that is just crazy. $550,000 is just an insane amount. Even I can't imagine that one, and I keep repeating that one because 6 figures of student loan debt is just crazy. I've seen people have these crazy amounts, even like 7 figures, which is mind-blowing. But anyway, this family needs to have some sort of plan. If I were part of this family, I would definitely make sure that my dad doesn't have those amount of debt. I would lift the burden from him, carry a lot of those student debt as well, because at some point I'm going to have to take those student loans away from him. Even though that Parent Plus loans are named in his name and not mine anymore, I would at least help him pay off those loans. And now this is just my personal opinion, since that loan was actually used for my education, that would fall kind of like my responsibility as well. And when it comes to money, talking about it is kind of hard among or inside the family, so you gotta just make sure that you're creating this plan, or you have some sort of contingencies in place to make sure that this sort of financial burden is not going to affect your relationships with everybody. So if you're a parent and you're thinking of taking out Parent Plus loans, make sure that you've got all your bases covered. You've done some research about the interest rates for Parent Plus loans. Do you actually really need it? Have you talked to your kid? Does he really need it? Is he or she ready to take on student debt? Is he or she ready to also help you out with paying off those Parent Plus loans? Because like I said, it's going to affect you and your family. This is going to be a very awkward conversation with your kids if you're going to be talking about money, about the loan. Hey, help me pay off this loan because this was for your education. That's just like a conversation that I'm not ready to have. Now, lucky for us, my parents never took out Parent Plus loans, so I kind of like avoided and dodged a bullet on that one. But for anyone who's thinking of that, like I said, make sure to have a plan, make sure to talk to your kids, make sure to talk to your spouse, because this is a very big decision as well. If you're going to carry the burden for your kids, make sure that you are mentally and financially ready to do so. But anyway, if you have any reactions or comments regarding this father's situation, then let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions regarding Parent Plus loans or anything about student loans, let me know in the comments below, because I will try my best to help you as much as I can. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching the entire video. Please do subscribe to the channel, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm, help this video get pushed out to a lot of people, and also get more information regarding student loans and anything in between. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and also share this video. And also, I'm on Instagram at dailydread, so if you have any questions for me, please add me there as a friend so that we can chat, collaborate, and also exchange some ideas. Thank you so much again for watching the video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.